video is sponsored by the last-minute rush editing Margaret will face when she realizes she needs pictures for the covers of all of these books. Hello, my lovely friends, it's Margaret, and it's time to nerd out about new releases. I am here with my most anticipated releases of 2019. There are a lot of them because your girl doesn't like making choices. This is actually the second time we filmed this video because we forgot 3 books that we are really looking forward to, and one of them is one of the most anticipated books that I have had. I've been anticipating it for like 2 years now, I think. I know this video is coming late, and so a lot of the January releases that I have been anticipating are out. Actually, I think all of them are out at this point, but I'm going to talk about them anyways because I want to and because I love them. The first one I want to talk about is the one that came out January 8th. It is, so far, my favorite book of the year. I don't know, I mean, there's potential on my list of books I want to read this year, but I don't know that anything is going to be able to top it because I've read it and I loved it, and my life is never going to be the same. How I'm getting to next January, I don't know. But that book is The Wicked King by Holly Black. If you don't know about what this is about, you've been living under a rock. But it's about Jude Duarte. It's the second book in a series. And in the first book, we find out that Jude was basically kidnapped from the human realm after this fairy killed both of her parents. And he kidnapped her, and he raised her and her 2 sisters as his daughters. Well, one of them was actually his daughter. But that's a whole different story. And so she has a run-in with a lot of the Fae in the first book, and stuff happens, stuff goes down. I have 2 different reviews for this that I will link up here. One has no spoilers, one is all of my spoilery thoughts. The next book I want to talk about is The Gilded Wolves by Roshani Chokshi. It came out January 15th. Yes. And it is basically like a heist novel set in 19th century Paris with this dude that owns, I guess, a hotel or something of that nature. And they're like, hey, here's this impossible heist that you can pull off. So he puts together a team of people that can pull this heist, and apparently there is a romance that has some backstory to it. And I just, like, all of those are buzzwords. Heist, romance with backstory, hi, my name is Margaret. Please, give now. Thank you. Almost everyone that I have seen that has read it has loved it. The third and final January release that I'm super excited about is King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo. This is kind of a sequel to the Grisha trilogy and kind of a sequel to the Six of Crows duology. If you didn't know, the Six of Crows duology was my favorite read of 2018. It is one of my favorite series of all time, like topped only by the Percy Jackson series and possibly the Shades of Magic series. I haven't decided like where those 2 get ranked. It's about Nikolai, who is my favorite character from the original Shadow and Bone trilogy, and it's basically him kind of having to deal with the fallout from what happened in the Shadow and Bone trilogy to him specifically. I can't really talk about the plot of this book because then I will spoil the Shadow and Bone trilogy, and I don't want to do that because if you want to read it, you should read it. I only have 1 anticipated release for February, and that is On the Come Up by Angie Thomas. It comes out February 5th. I was really excited when Angie said she was writing another book because I absolutely adored The Hate U Give. It gave me a lot to think about. It made me really examine a lot of things about myself, and I know that's not the intention of the book, but I do appreciate how her writing brings forward issues and makes me think about them in ways that I have not thought about them before. I know I will never fully understand, but I am continually trying to understand and put myself in the shoes of Black Americans because it is tough being a Black American. You can't deny that at this point. Just like Google it. This is about Brie, and her dad was a rapper, and so she wants to be a rapper as well, and she has a song go viral at the same time that her mother, I believe, loses her job or something happens with her mom's job, so her family is in dire financial straits. From what I can understand, it's about like her trying to grapple with fame, and this wonderful thing has happened where she's become this viral sensation, and I'm assuming that benefits her family in some way, but at the same time, we live in a society where once you become one of those viral sensations, the public kind of sort of feels like they own you. I cannot wait to see what Angie does with this. I cannot wait to see like who Brie is. I am so excited to meet Brie. I just am. So March has a bunch because there were a lot of good books coming out in March. There were a lot of good books coming out all of these months, but these are the books that I have been like really like if I have the money to be there day of and purchase them, I will be. The first one I want to talk about is The Everlasting Rose by Dhonielle Clayton. It comes out March 5th, which coincidentally is also my father's birthday. It is the second book in the Bells duology, I believe it is. I think it's a duology. I mean, I would not be opposed to it being a trilogy. because I really liked the world in the first book. I can't really go into the summary for The Everlasting Rose, because spoilers, but I can tell you what The Bells was about. The Bells released last year, and it's about Camellia, and she lives in this world where almost everyone lives drained of color, except for these people called the Bells. Camellia is a Belle, and what is special about her and her sisters is that they can affect the appearance of ordinary people. They have a magic that allows them to infuse color into the people around them and the people that they serve. And so Camellia really has been training and really putting her hopes on becoming the favorite of the royal family. Throughout the book, Camellia is continually having to grapple with the politics that surround being a Belle. And she's also finding out that there's a lot that people haven't been telling her, even about her own magic. And we didn't get any of those answers in the first book, and so I am hoping we will get some of them in the second book. I'm also I would love for it to be a trilogy, but if it is the final book in the series, that'd be great, because then my best friend is no longer going to be mad at me for recommending a book that didn't have the sequel wasn't out. I just put a pretty picture on Instagram. It's not my fault that she decided she wanted to read the book. The next book that is also coming out on March 5th is To Best the Boys by Mary Weber. I have an e-arc of this, and I'm really excited to get to it once February is over. It's about Wren, and she wants to be a scientist, and she and her father have been studying this disease that is plaguing her city, country, something like that. But the problem with that is that they don't have a lot of money, and they need more money to continue their research. And so Wren decides that she is going to enter in the scholarship competition, but the scholarship competition is only for boys. So she has to disguise herself as a boy so that she can try and convince them to give her this money so they can continue studying and trying to find a cure for this disease. And then to up the ante, I guess very shortly into the beginning of the book, her mother also falls ill with this disease, so like we really need to find a cure. Also coming out in March, I believe this is coming out March 5th. I'm not entirely sure, but I want it and I want to read it, and that is The Queen's Shadow by E.K. Johnston. Listen, things you need to know about me is that Padme is my favorite character from the Star Wars world. I'm still not okay with how her story ended, even though I knew it was going to end that way, but I, kind of expected her to go out in a more badass way than just basically giving up. Thanks for that, George Lucas. This book is supposed to cover, right after she finished being queen for her second term. This is kind of her trying to adjust to whatever she decides to do after. I mean, we know, but does she know in the book? Probably not. It's Padme, and so I am down for it. I'm there. I'm ready for it. The next book that's coming out in March is coming out March 19th, and that is Return of the Queen's Thief by Megan Whalen Turner. It's the final book in the Queen's Thief series, and I can't really tell you all that much about this one because I haven't looked it up, because I'm like 3 books behind. The last one I read was The King of Atolia, I think, but this is one of those series that hails from my childhood. I was probably about 14 or 15 when I first read The Thief and The Queen of Atolia, and my poor Jen. But it is about Jen. He's a thief living in this kind of Greco-Roman inspired world, and there is a conflict between these two city-states, kind of like Athens and Sparta in the Greek Empire, and from there he ends up having to steal something from the rival country because he thinks it's fun, and he can because he likes to steal things. As you go into the story, you start to kind of suspect that there is more to his story than is going on, and then the second book, the second book has one of my favorite romances. It is the most intriguing political romance you have ever read. Probably not. I could probably name a couple of others that are similar. But I love how sneaky my sneaky thief is. And the final book that is coming out in March is coming out March 26th, and that is Dear Allie, How Do You Write a Book by Allie Carter. If you've been on this channel for a while, you know that I love me some Allie Carter. In fact, she is another perennial fave from my teenage years. This book is basically just Allie giving advice to teen readers about how to write and how to work on their craft, and I'm so ready for it. I needed this book when I was a teenager. Now, we are moving on to April, and the first book that is coming out in April is The Descendant of the Crane by Joan He. It is out April 2nd, and I'm gonna give you a minute to look at the cover of this book. Okay, look at the cover. Do you see the cover? You see the cover, yeah. Number 1 reason, that cover is gorgeous, and why would you not want to read something with a cover that beautiful? Number 2 reason is that it's got a very interesting plot. It's very political sounding, and it involves royalty, and those are some other buzzwords of mine, apparently. It is a Chinese-inspired fantasy about Princess Hsina, and she has just recently become queen because her father has suddenly died, and it turns out that he might not have died of natural causes. It might have been a murder, and so she has to turn to a forbidden magic to try and find answers about how her father died. And then it's a search for his murderer, and there's rumor of romance, so you know I'm in for that. The second book that I'm looking forward to in April also comes out April 2nd, and that is Sky Without Stars by Jessica Brody and Joanne Rindell. It is Les Mis in space. I don't know if you have picked up on this from my wrap-ups, but Margaret is super into the retellings in space right now. Brightly Burning started something, Alexa Dunn started something, and so now I want all of the retellings to happen in space. Yes, I know, I need to read the Lunar Chronicles. I'm getting there, okay? It's like Clever Thief versus Military Boy, and then there's a girl that's guarding a library, and I'm all there for it. Again, thieves. There is a revolution brewing over this huge class disparity a la the French Revolution, and there's murder. What more could you ask for in a book? It sounds like a wild ride. I'm so ready for it. So May is tied with March for the month that has the most releases that I am looking forward to, because it also has 5. And oh boy. It also has one of my most anticipated releases of the year. But the first book that we obviously had to talk about, because this is a booktube channel, we got to talk about Again But Better by Christine Riccio. This is coming out May 7th. I'm pretty sure everyone here knows Christine is Poland and Banana's book. She's one of the bigger YouTubers on this platform. I really love her writing videos, and so of course I'm going to support anything she puts out. It's about Shane, and basically she has the same boring college existence that I had. It's like go to class, go to school, go to work, don't really do anything fun in between. Granted, there wasn't much fun in Gainesville for a girl who didn't like going to the club, so there's that. But Shane, unlike Margaret, decides to shake things up by studying abroad, and so she's going to study abroad in London, and hijinks ensue, I'm assuming? Possibly some romance? The next book is also coming out on May 7th, and that is Romanov by Nadine Brandes. I love Anastasia. Okay, I've been obsessed since I saw the movie, the animated movie that's not at all accurate and has a much happier ending than Anastasia's actual ending. So there's that. But basically it is a magical realism retelling of Anastasia. From what I understand, there's a princess in hiding, a dashing soldier, and an artifact that they need to smuggle out of the country or something like that. I'm down. I'm there. Yes, thank you. I really like this whole, like, girl meets military boy thing, apparently. The next one that's coming out in May that I'm really excited about is We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faizal. It's coming out May 14th, and it is an Arabian-inspired fantasy about a hunter and the Prince of Death. Right there. Prince of Death? Does that not have you? Like, does that not grab you? Zafira lives in a world on the brink of a war, and so she goes on a mission to find a lost artifact, which I assume is either going to benefit her family or benefit the country in some way. It's not entirely clear. And then Prince Nasir, who is the Prince of Death, he's an assassin, hence the nickname. He is sent after her to stop her and get the artifact for himself. But in trying to do that, he discovers, or they discover, that there is a deeper, darker evil that they have to worry about outside of all the political things that are falling apart around them. And I'm just, yep, okay, yep, that sounds fantastic. Also coming out on May 14th is There's Something About Sweetie by Sandhya Menon. I loved When Dimple Met Rishi. I really enjoyed From Twinkle with Love. So you knew I was gonna have to pick up the next book in this series. It is a companion novel. You do not have to read, well, you probably need to read this one after you've read When Dimple Met Rishi, because it's going to spoil When Dimple Met Rishi, because it's about Ashish, and he is in the first book, so you probably need to do that. But it's about Ashish and Sweetie. Ashish's girlfriend has recently broken up with him, and he feels like he's lost his mojo, so he tells his parents, go ahead, set me up with a good Indian girl. Sweetie is a track star, and she is really tired of her parents making digs about her weight, because she is plus size, and she's perfectly comfortable with that, but her parents are not happy with it because she is not the perfect Indian daughter, I guess. I'm not sure how those two plot lines intersect and benefit each other, but obviously she's going to be the girl that his parents set him up with, and if it is anything near as hilarious as When Dimple Met Rishi was, I will be highly entertained. The final book. I wait on pins and needles every year for this author's writing. But the final book that's coming out in May that I'm really excited for is The Vanishing Season by Dot Hutchison. All of these covers have been absolutely stunning, but this is... I can't really tell you what The Vanishing Season is about because it spoils things for the second book in this series. This follows a team of FBI agents. We have Victor, Edison, Ramirez, and Sterling. And so far, each one of them has gotten a point of view book, and this is Eliza's point of view book that's coming out, and they're solving what's basically, I guess, kind of considered a cold case. I can't tell you what that case is because, again, spoils character backstory for the first book. I can't do that. Not gonna do that. The Butterfly Garden absolutely blew me away. I only picked it up because I love this author, because this author is a friend of mine. I picked it up because of that. I didn't think I was going to like it, and then the ending just fulfilled me. I am so excited for this final concluding book because it's going to be solving a mystery that has been haunting us since the first book. We have made it to June, and I guess here's the part where I should say that this is only January through June. I'm not going through my whole year because a lot of these dates are not set in stone, like Renegades 3, which is another one of my most anticipated releases of the year, like doesn't even have a release date. I will be making another video in the second half of the year with hopefully when we have more information about the books that are coming out then. But the final book that I have to talk to you about is Shadow and Flame by Mindy Arnett. This is the sequel to Onyx and Ivory, and I really enjoyed it last year. I thought it was really like it doesn't seem as complicated at the beginning, but as you go through the book, it gets more and more complicated, and there are so many questions that need to be answered. Yes. So this is about Kate and Corwin, and Kate is a disgraced noblewoman, I think, because her father was very close to the king, and then her father tried to kill the king, and so he got beheaded, she got sent away, and so she's been trying to live her life as a messenger. And the thing about Kate is she has a magic that is forbidden. Again, with the forbidden magic. I'm enjoying this forbidden magic kick that we're getting, apparently. It is called Wilder Magic, and you're not supposed to use it. It is at odds with the magic that the guilds control. You also have Corwin, who is the king's second son, and he has been waiting for this great trial that's supposed to happen. It's a magical trial that's supposed to decide whether he or his brother should rule, because rule is not handed down to the eldest son like there's magic that decides. He's been waiting for the sign that means that he and his brother are going to fight, and it just hasn't shown up, and so he's starting to think that maybe it's just very obviously clear that his brother is the one that should be king. He's doubting himself. He and Kate were in a relationship, but then her father messed things up, and so she broke things off with him, and they are brought back together because he is in a caravan that is attacked by these things called daydrakes. The thing about these daydrakes is they are a totally new species of dragon, because they have dragons that have been haunting the country in the evening, but they are always done by the time the sun comes up. In the first book, Kate and Corwin kind of have to team up to figure out what the heck is going on and why these dragons can suddenly be in the daylight. There's a prophecy involved. I can't wait to see what happens next with this series. Very excited. Those are my most anticipated releases for the first half of the year. Again, I will be coming at you again with a second video, probably May, June-ish, to kind of tell you about the books that I'm looking forward to in the second half of the year. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, hit that subscribe button. I make videos 2 to 3 times a week about books and writing, and I would love to see your lovely face here on a regular basis. If you want more of me, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter. Those are both @thewordnerd with a 3 in nerd instead of the E. That is it for now, my friends. Happy reading, and I will see you later when we will talk about more wordy, nerdy things. Bye!